Welcome to Radio 64. Welcome to Radio 64, Video Game Music Remix Radio. I'm your host, Eric Mickles, also known online as duskvstweak. Radio 64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Visit radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. Share your thoughts on this episode and request music by following the show on Facebook and Twitter at Radio64Pod. And please rate, subscribe, and share this show on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. We opened the show with Kuwanga Banga by PirateCrab from ocremix.org from the game Mega Man X. You know, I almost played Mega Man X before doing this one, and I didn't. And I failed because I don't have any fun facts to talk about with Mega Man X other than it looks cool, and that I will keep saying I'm going to play it, and then I never do. I keep making these promises, and I don't keep them. But I tell you what about Kuwanga Banga, that song, opens this show hot and heavy. That was some fast-paced shredding. I love it. That's just some hard-hitting 90s style metal. I can really get behind that. PirateCrab is delivering a track that feels exactly like the Super Nintendo, those big action side-scrollers that you'd get from Mega Man X, from the Power Ranger games, you know, just this hard-hitting, shredding Contra guitar letting you know that you're not playing Mario, you're playing something a little bit more extreme. Mega Man Extreme? Sorry about that last bit. That was Kuwanga Banga by PirateCrab from ocremix.org from the game Mega Man X. So I wanted to play City Skylines, but before I went in, I wanted to make sure that I was still okay at playing SimCity 2000. at least as I was when I was a kid. SimCity 2000 was a game that I played so much as a kid. I don't even know where we got it. We just had it one day on our computer, on our family computer, and I remember me and my siblings and my mom, we all were just playing SimCity 2000 at one point or another. And as a kid, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just taking out bonds, getting in debt. I could never make money. I never understood how housing was supposed to work, so there were always these abandoned buildings. Places just wouldn't grow. I didn't understand that the roads and the distance and all that mattered. About last week or so, I spent a lot of time playing SimCity 2000 trying to figure it out again, figure out how it was supposed to work, and I did. I made a pretty good looking city, if I can be honest. I was pretty happy with it. One thing that really struck out to me and people watching me on Twitch was just how weird and unique and fun the music is in that game. It's so funky. It's so, I don't know, goofy at times. The whole soundscape of SimCity 2000 is just very fun and wacky. And this track comes in and it brings up the funk. It takes that funk that's already at a very high 10, I should say. SimCity 2000's funk is not playing around. And this one just brings it up to 11. If that's not even something you can do with speakers when it comes to funk, this track does it. So this is SimFunkadelic by Dr. Velvet and Halo Zero from ocremix.org from the game SimCity 2000. That was SimFunkadelic by Dr. Velvet and Halo Zero from ocremix.org from the game SimCity 2000. I mean, what else could you say about it? I mean, that's what it is. It's just pure funk, cheesy funk. Even I finally did play City Skylines, or at least I got to it, and I started learning how it works and everything. But I gotta tell you, a lot of what it does is just expanding on what SimCity 2000 did. City Skylines is as strong of a game as it is because SimCity 2000 was there first and showed everybody how it was done. And I think SimCity 2000 is still a pretty pretty fun time, and it still looks great. Going even further back, though, than SimCity 2000, back to 1987, when Nintendo made the first sequel to The Legend of Zelda. We're talking Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. A divisive game, sure, but this track is one that I tend to be more familiar with because of my time with Super Smash Bros. Melee. But the remix here is amping up the orchestral influence here. I feel like there's a James Bond influence with this as well. But whether or not that holds true, this is just an extremely epic piece of music. Strings and piano working together to create something that's so fist-pumping, so adrenaline-fueled, while keeping that kind of classical style there. So this is Battle of the Hylian Hero by Random Hero from ocremix.org from Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. That was Battle of the Hylian Hero by Random Hero from ocremix.org from the game Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Such a cool sound. That thing, it just keeps building and building and building, and it ends on such a grand scale. I love that track. So the Fear Factory theme from the original Donkey Kong Country, it's a strange piece because the original feels very claustrophobic, melancholy, and unwelcoming to you because I mean the whole factory is just this series of machine and metal and enemies, and it's not where Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong are welcomed or where they even want to be. But the music for it seems to be able to be warped to a multiple genres very well. We've played an 80s take of it before. We played a very relaxing version of it where you just sit in your hammock listening to it. In here, we have this very soulful, semi-romantic, depressing, melancholy take again. Injury's vocals in this track are so easy to listen to. She has such a wonderful voice that just melds with the rest of the music that's going on in this song. There's something about how maybe matter of fact she is about stating these darker lyrics that it almost seems like that she's resigned to this fate, and at times she'll sing a line and you can kind of hear her snapping out of it and wanting to break free, and at the same time she can't. She's just part of the machine. That's how I've gone and interpreted this song. This is Permutation by Entheogen, Injury, and Nicole Adams from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country.
By this factory, prescribing what is not in need. Personality doesn't mean to me. I cannot think, my mind can't breathe. Growing quiet now, falling back to sleep, hurting us like cows Personality is by this factory, prescribing what is not in need. Personality, what does it mean to me? Tell me what's beyond this eternity. Reality was by this factory. It's called a scene of a dying breed. Personality consumes all of me. The world will see I'm forever free.
That was Permutation by Entheogen, Injury, Nicole Adams from OCRemix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. I know Injury and Nicole Adams worked again on that song, A New Place, from Donkey Kong Country 2, which is also one of my favorites. So they haven't collaborated in a while again, or at least not on OCR, but I hope they do, because their styles together really mesh into something I want to listen to. Now we got something probably a little bit inspired by the Crystal Method, I would assume. This is called TEEM.ROKIT. It's taken that Team Rocket hideout theme from Pokemon Red and Blue and bring it into that industrial electronica kind of scene. There's some synth, there's some sounds in here that you can hear how dubstep has its origins a bit in the industrial sound. This take is just this kind of dark, grungy electronic piece, really kind of hammering home how dangerous and twisted the Team Rocket hideouts are. Maybe your character's a little bit over their head. No, you're fine in Pokemon Red. You got your Charizard leveled up. You got a Gyarados in your party. You're probably going to be fine. This track comes from the album that OCR released a while ago called Pokemon The Missing No Tracks, which is a really fun Pokemon tribute album. Definitely worth your time to go check that out. But here we are with TEEM.ROKIT by Tweex from OCRemix.org from the game Pokemon Red version. That was Team Rocket by Tweex from OC Remix from the game Pokemon Red version. OCR and the artist, they pick which Pokemon version it's coming from, but it's all Pokemon Red version to me. But yeah, I used to love the Team Rocket levels because the Team Rocket hideouts were always more intense than just walking through the caves or hitting the trails. I feel like maybe it's a bit even for me on whether or not the gym battles were as hard. You know what? I'm going to say it. The Team Rocket levels were more intense than the gym battles, because the gym battles, you just walk through their followers, all of the same Pokemon type, and you just cruise right through. But with the Team Rocket hideout, yeah, they've all got like the similar Pokemon, but the level design was always a bit more twisted with those warp levels, and the music is that darker. Yeah, Team Rocket's hideout. And I know I've already used my I think this song was inspired by the James Bond music a bit, but also Team Rocket, I think. This track we just played has a bit of like the GoldenEye soundtrack in there, the GoldenEye 64 soundtrack. Here's a track that means a lot to me, weirdly. I talked about this on my podcast, the All the Books show. We did a special Overclocked Remix playlist. It was almost 2.5 hours long, and I brought this song over, and I talked about this. But this song coming up is called What's Left by Radiowar. It's a remix from Wild Arms, and I haven't played Wild Arms, but when this album came out in December 2011, I was going through kind of a rough time in my life, making some self-destructive choices and pushing people away, and it was a rough holiday that year, and it was a rough holiday by my own making, and there was a lot of regret going on inside of me, and I was feeling very isolated, alone, and not really sure how to climb out of the mess I was making. While that was happening, I was listening to some of the new OCR tunes. I was listening to this Wild Arms album, and this track specifically really hit me, and it really felt like it was a song to describe how I was feeling at the time. It really felt like if somebody was like, "Hey, Eric, what's going on? What's going on with you?" I could just play this song and they would be like, "Oh, okay, you feel like this." I don't know if others would have interpreted it as it was, but this song really felt like it was made for me at the time. So What's Left has always been a favorite. I think it's a very cool song. I think it has this dark tone and this repetition that's kind of lulling in some ways, but it really just creates this sense of climbing out of the darkness or feeling overwhelmed, but you're working your way through it. I think this is a really beautiful piece, and I'm thankful that it was there when I needed it. So this is What's Left by Radiowar from ocremix.org from the game Wild Arms. That was What's Left by Radiowar from ocremix.org from the game Wild Arms, specifically the Wild Arms Armed and Dangerous album that OCR put out. I finally tackled Super Meat Boy. And listen, I only beat Super Meat Boy's light world, okay? I did not get to the dark world. I only was able to A+, I don't even know the percentage, but I did not A+ every level, and that's something I probably will never do. But my time with Super Meat Boy through the light world, it was fun. There were levels where I could just kind of cruise through, and then I would hit a wall, and I would be on the same level for like 2 hours, and those levels aren't long, so that's a lot of repetition. The last 3 levels really seemed to give me a problem, and I got a blister on my thumb, but it was a fun freaking time. I gotta tell you, the Super Meat Boy, its reputation is well earned. If you like me, you haven't played Super Meat Boy yet, and you want, hard as nails platformer, check out Super Meat Boy for sure if you haven't already. But yeah, every good thing that's ever been said about Super Meat Boy is true. It's still true, and the music, the music by Danny Baranowski is fantastic. Yeah, here we are. The Super Meat Boy track, it's a fun one. It's a vocal piece with Josh Whelchel and Melinda Hershey singing together. It's kind of a pop track, but the lyrics are poppy, but the music isn't. The music is more of that kind of aggressive synth that we had heard back with like TEEM.ROKIT in a way. So heavier instrumentals with this pop soundtrack, some goofy lyrics singing about the characters. It's a fun time. I've been singing it throughout the week while listening to this track. I've just been in the kitchen doing dishes being like, save me. So this is Power of the Meat. It's even everything about this song is fun. Power of the Meat by Josh Whelchel and Melinda Hershey from ocremix.org from the game Super Meat Boy.
Save me.
Is quite fine by me. Your girl is quite fair, or he's an anomaly. So the bandages come off, baby, what's your hurry?
Save me, boy, you're the one that I need. Dr. Fetus, you can beat us, but he's making you bleed. So won't you save me, boy? I know you got what it takes. It's the hour, use your power and come help save the day. Save me, boy, you're save me.
With my robotic souls, don't you wish you had some fingers with which life to crawl? Now I know what you're thinking for. I think this is what's more. Well, when your blood hits these walls, I'm coming with a lot.
That was Power of the Meat by Josh Whelchel and Melinda Hershey from ocremix.org from the game Super Meat Boy. There's something goofy and yet still so earnest about those male vocals at the end of the song. I mean, the lyrics are funny and yet he's putting his heart into it. I love it. Now this is a really fun piano piece from Star Fox 2, which Star Fox 1 for the Super Nintendo was very impressive graphically, and Star Fox 2 was never released, and then the Super Nintendo Mini came out and they gave it a full official release. So congratulations, Star Fox 2. Maybe I'll play you sometime. I think you have to play like 4 hours of the original Star Fox to unlock it or something. But this track from Star Fox 2, it's a very boppy piano piece. It's the title track from Star Fox 2, and there's something about it that just sounds so victorious and a little bit brave. The start of an adventure. This is a new track to OCR just this past week, and I've really grown to like this one. Having no experience with Star Fox 2 whatsoever, it's impressed me, and I find it very endearing. And there's a bit of a Star Wars Easter egg in here, so keep your ears open for that. It's very quick, but it's very obvious, and I love it. This is The Lost Legend of Lylat by DS from ocremix.org from the game Star Fox 2. That was The Lost Legend of Lylat by DS from ocremix.org from the game Star Fox 2. I think my mom rented Star Fox back on the Super Nintendo. I think that was my first time seeing it. And as a kid, I thought it looked cool, but I didn't understand how to play it. And then when the 64 game came out, I'm like, oh, you know what? I just don't think I like this type of game, which is fine. I can still appreciate when the game looks gorgeous. I do have Star Fox Adventures sitting on my shelf over there to be played. I know that game has a mixed reception, so that'll be fun. All right, we're still in a Final Fantasy VII kick here because of the remake that just came out. Though, I'll tell you, I'm not going to spoil anything about the Final Fantasy VII remake, but the more I've learned about it, the more interested I am in playing it. So this comes from Final Fantasy VII. This is the original track was Hurry, and this comes from the Final Fantasy VII Voices of the Lifestream album, and it is a kind of cyberpunky electronic piece. The big giant circles in Zircon are the artists involved in this remix. And coming from them, it's surprisingly not as like extreme or as twisted as some of their songs and collaborations can get. But there is this element of being rushed, of, you know, being hurried while you listen to this. You can hear the adrenaline, and it's stressful at times. The vocal sample that comes in here, who I believe is Liontamer, comes in talking about how death just comes out of nowhere, and if you had known it was coming, you would do things differently. It's kind of this twist of the knife. You're just kind of listening to this song and, you know, okay, be in a hurry. Things are a little bit stressful. Keep moving. Wait, what? And death just shows up and ruins everything. It's this bit of hard-hitting truth that just kind of comes out of nowhere with this song. So this is Adrenalyne Kick by Big Giant Circles, Liontamer, and Zircon from OC Remix's album, Voices of the Lifestream from the game Final Fantasy VII. That was Adrenalyne Kyck by Big Giant Circles, Liontamer, and Zircon from OC Remix's album, Voices of the Livestream from Final Fantasy VII. Again, if you haven't, go check out the episode we did, the Final Fantasy VII special. 10 remixes, all from Final Fantasy VII. I had a lot of fun doing that, a lot of good music in there, so definitely go check that out. Okay, so this remix is absolutely one of my favorites, and has been for a while, and one that I love showing to people for the first time. It's just so different and so funny, so goofy, and it's one when you know the lyrics is even more ridiculous. So this is called Super Mario Western Show, and it's taking the music from Super Mario World, the Super Nintendo one. For me, I mean, it's turning it into like the end credits of an anime. It almost reminds me of the those bits in Cowboy Bebop where they were watching the Bounty Hunter show. It's the way during this song at the end the singers just start having a conversation with each other. You know, if you hear like, you can join us next time on Super Mario World Western Show, it would feel right in place. The lyrics, all in Japanese, translate to, "Hey Koopa, you're such a stubborn fellow, why don't you give up on Peach?" And you realize it's about like Mario and Luigi and probably Koopa all arguing to win the heart of Peach. It's hilarious. It all kind of translate, that's right, men compete with their heart. This whole thing it's just so well produced. It just sounds so authentic. The conversational tone between the singers, it's wonderful. If you're not prepared, get prepared, because this song is something else. Super Mario Western Show by Hyadain from ocremix.org from the game Super Mario World.
Hey Koopa 君ってさしつこすぎるぜピーチのことはもう諦めなよおあんいにくさまそうはいかねってことさお姉様こそ彼女のディスティニー
二人ともね親になって鏡をよくご覧なさい
それは言われて話だぜだって男はハートで勝負お疲れさんお疲れっすマリオちゃん最近どうよもう絶好調っすよあれっすよ DS とか Wii とかバカ売れでいいねからく暇ねえってやつかやめてくださいよクッパさんあ2番始まりますよMy sweet speech girl 愛してるんだぜわからなけりゃまた拉致監禁命かけて奪い返すけど君の心は奪えないの
二人ともいい加減にして誰に口を聞いてんの
ツンデレなとこも魅力的そう男はハートで勝負お一人お忘れじゃないですか一三条お待たせごめん KY な空気読めこらちょついてるとマジ踏みつぶすぞ
キノコ野郎は一人で結構バカのくせに名前言ってね
ルックスだけは中のけだけどね男はハートで勝負男はハートで勝負
男はカードで勝負
ああやっと終わった疲れましたねどうよこれから一杯行くかああすいません今日ちょっとあれがこれでこうなんでおお盛んだね今度紹介してこれマイク切れてないっすよマジでやっべ
That was Super Mario Western Show by Hyadain from ocremix.org from the game Super Mario World. This is the part that I love. It's when they're singing and one of the singers has to stop and basically apologize very quickly. It translates to, wait, what? Sorry. And it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it just cracked me up the first time I listened to it. Then at the end, it's all translating to them talking about how tired they are and how they want to get going, and they didn't realize the mic is on. This song is just so tongue-in-cheek and yet so good. We don't deserve it. We don't deserve this song, but I'm glad it's here. That was, again, Super Mario Western Show by Hyadain from ocremix.org from the game Super Mario World. And what a perfect track to end this show with. That was the last song of the episode, so thank you for listening to Radio 64 Video Game Music Remix Radio. I have been your host, Eric Mickles, also known online as duskvstweak. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Radio 64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Visit radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. Share your thoughts on this episode and request music by following the show on Facebook and Twitter at Radio64Pod. Please rate, subscribe, and share the show on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. See you next episode.